You guys love that music. I love that music. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our Tuesday evening introduction to LifeWave and the star of the show, our product called X39. This evening, what we'll be doing is sharing a brief overview of the company, the technology, sharing a little bit about the star of our show, like I like to call it, X39. And then we're going to turn things over and introduce our special guest tonight, Dr. Stuart Freedenfeld. And after that, you have an opportunity to share your questions and your stories. If you have a story, raise your hand in the chat. Yes, raise your hand. And then you can write your question in the chat. And I want to thank everyone for not mentioning any disease states and to talk about symptoms only. So let's get started. Okay, let's see here. I think this is working better than it was earlier. For those of you that got on early. So this evening, I'm going to turn things over to my partner because he does the storytelling part really beautifully, and he's got a wonderful presentation. If you're new to this call, you might want to have notes. A special warm welcome to anyone who's your first time here. This is a very special company at a very special time, and I'm going to turn things over to my partner in every way, my darling Gregory.
Hey, thanks, Robin. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our LifeWave X39 introduction. I'm going to do a brief PowerPoint to just walk through some of the basic foundations of the company, our founder, the science, and then we're going to turn it over to the good doctor that's on with us here tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So please hold on. And here we go. And okay, so welcome to our LifeWave X39 presentation. I wanted to share with you a realization I came to a number of years ago. I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, younger, okay? And so with that in mind, I'd like to ask you a couple of quick questions before we get started. If anything were possible, if you could just wave a magic wand and anything were possible, what is one thing you would choose to experience differently in your health? And what difference would that make for you? What's one thing? More energy, better sleep, more mobility, flexibility, mental clarity. If you could just change one thing and experience it differently in your health, what would it be? And what difference would that make for you? And with that being said, I do want to, upfront state that our products are not designed or intended to heal, treat, or diagnose any disease. However, they do help our bodies get back into a more healthy state and regenerative mode. And many times, some very wonderful things then begin to happen. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about the stem cell revolution, because certainly everyone wants to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that repairs and regenerates all damaged cells in our organs, glands, bones, muscles, skin, you name it, all throughout our body. Stem cells are the rebuild and repair crew. The problem is the older we get, the fewer stem cells we have. And by age 60, only a small percentage remain. And the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, what about stem cell injections? Excuse me when I turn my phone off so it doesn't ring. They can be very expensive. They are very expensive. They can be very painful. They're risky, controversial, and you know what? There's no guaranteed results. They work wonderfully for some people. They don't work so well for others, and some not at all. Well, we've got good news because now you can look, feel, perform, and live younger with a historic breakthrough in stem cell activation. It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's very affordable. It's safe, non-invasive, it's drug-free, and it's a patented form of phototherapy, which we're going to go into in just a few minutes, that uses specific frequencies of light to increase and improve our stem cell activity. And this is the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt. And David is not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, he's a genius inventor with over 100 patents and patent pendings, and he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. Now, David's already conducted over 90 clinical studies proving the efficacy of our LifeWave phototherapy products, and many more studies are currently in the works. Now, LifeWave itself as a company is a 17-year-old advanced technology company focused in health sciences. It was founded in 2004 based on an energy-enhancing technology David developed for Navy SEALs to increase their strength, stamina, and performance without drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. It turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world in almost every sport. And we do have corporate headquarters, laboratory, and manufacturing diversified between California, Utah, and Ireland, with global distribution over 75 countries from 14 global distribution centers. Now, the word is getting out, and LifeWave patches are now used by pro and amateur athletes around the world in almost every sport. And the media has begun to notice, and you might too if you look carefully. In fact, if you go back to the recent Olympic Games, you might see some of these little white patches on some of the Olympians because our products are approved by the Olympics Committee. So how does this amazing technology work? And this is very exciting because it's based on a type of light therapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals that when they're applied or near our body, they're activated by our body heat, and then they begin to emit or reflect back very specific wavelengths of light, which stimulate targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in the body. Now, this is known as photobiomodulation, and it's the basis of our LifeWave phototherapy patches. So it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause specific changes within our body. For example, when we go out in the sun, a very specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D. We don't get a download of vitamin D from the sun, and without the sun's light, our body doesn't make it, and we need to supplement it. Another frequency of sunlight, UV, causes our bodies to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patented technology is based on the same rock-solid scientific principle. And our focus for the last 12 years has been in the field of anti-aging and really beyond that into regenerative science. And in January of 2019, we released to the global market our greatest accomplishment yet, which is the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch. And this truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell activation. In fact, some are calling it the holy grail of anti-aging and restorative science. And we're actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do. The X39 patch activates a very specific copper peptide that activates our body's own stem cells. And at the same time, it also alters gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. Now, X39 certainly is a game changer, and it's a true breakthrough. And our inventor and founder, David Schmidt, said, "This is my greatest accomplishment yet." And yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies. Yes, we have field results proving that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very exciting news. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Robin, and let you introduce our doctor tonight. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Great. Thank you, Gregory. I love that presentation. And that presentation is actually available for those that want it on liveyoungerdownloads.com. So it's my treat. We've attracted such wonderful practitioners in our business of all kinds. And tonight I get to introduce Dr. Stuart. So Dr. Stuart got his medical degree at the College of Medicine and Dentistry in New Jersey in 1975. And he was a clinical instructor at the Delaware Valley Family Health Center. He was an instructor at Rutgers Medical School. He was in practice for many, many years. And then in 1988, he made a shift in his career. He expanded his practice to integrating more natural therapies, nutritional therapies, homeopathy, Chinese herbalism, all kinds of different things. So he gave his patients, a real choice and a selection of how to integrate both directions to get the best possible results. And currently he's recognized as one of the leading experts in the integration of using multiple forms of healing, and is a functional medicine doctor. And I get to welcome Dr. Stuart Freedenfeld. There he is.
That's my cue to open up my camera.
Okay. Are you one of my favorite 72-year-old soccer players?
73.
Oh my goodness. There you go. And you play with the youngsters, don't you?
20 and up. Yeah.
20 and up. Love it. So someone said, never go to a doctor that's not healthier than you are. So you're the right kind of doc. All right. Well, we're thrilled to have you with LifeWave, Dr. Stewart. And I always like to start out the same way, because I think it's really valuable for people to know, why is it that such an accomplished doctor as yourself was attracted to get involved in LifeWave?
So as a functional integrative medicine doctor, I get exposed to a lot of different types of healing, and a lot of people want me to try out things and experience substances and procedures that they have found very helpful. The reality is, most of the stuff that I experiment with don't pan out to work out the way it was hyped, but some of them do. And so it's important to be skeptical, but be an open-minded skeptic, and to look at things with that open mind and see. With that, this was a product, the X39, was presented to me by a colleague that I've met on the lecture circuit. I respect her greatly, and was happy to give a try to these X39 patches. And I just had a wonderful experience with them. It made huge differences in the things that are important to me. With my athleticism, I had increased stamina, improvement in my recovery time after sports, marked improvement in post-exertion pain and acute pains that were going on at the time when I started them, and on and on. It's just been a really nice addition to the multiple things that I do for myself. My life partner, Patricia, and my darling, also used them, and she also had her own issues. She's had chronic pain, nerve pain in her feet, and after years of not getting benefit from multiple things, she says that with the X39, she has about a 70% improvement in her pain, and that's been huge enough for her to go back to hiking and doing things. Her stamina has improved, etc. So it's been really nice.
I love it. We love open-minded skeptics. Well, it's because once they're converted, it's all over, and the fact that you're open, and that's what it takes. And so Gregory introduced, X39 and the technology a little bit. A lot of people, have heard the term stem cells, but they don't really know what they are and why they're so important. So could you share a little bit about, why this is truly a historic breakthrough to be able to have light activate your own stem cells?
All right. So understand that we come from a stem cell. The fertilized egg, sperm meets egg and becomes an ovum. That is the embryonic stem cell that multiplies it 2, 4, 8, 16 of these cells. And it continues to divide and divide. And after a while, they begin to specialize. They begin to go off into different types of stem cells. Some become placenta and placenta parts, and others become baby and baby parts. And then they divide into mesenchymal stem cells that become muscle and connective tissue and bone. That become hematopoietic stem cells that become blood vessels and blood cells. As we develop, stem cells continue to be the basis of repair and regeneration to all of our organs. A lot of times you'll go to doctors now that are doing fat-derived stem cells. They take some fat from your body, or a little bit more involved. They'll take some bone marrow tissue and harvest a stem cell from that and inject those back in. But these are already specialized, are already down a single pathway, and they cannot back up and become general things. So if you want to get the best out of stem cells, you want to get more like embryonic, these pluripotential stem cells. And it happens that the X39, according to studies, actually stimulates the skin-derived stem cells to revert into a pluripotential stem cell that can form all the different organ parts. So it's a huge benefit.
You explained that so well. I love it. I love it, because we all started out as a stem cell. That's kind of interesting to think about, isn't it? And then look what happened over time. And as Gregory shared, the older we get, the less we have, the faster we age, the slower we heal. So we have this amazing product called X39, and I like to call it the star of our show, because it is, because it does so many things. What are the, huh?
I thought you were the star of the show.
I think you are tonight. Yes, we could both. We'll yeah, there you go. So, what are the ideal conditions for people to get the maximum benefit of utilizing this amazing product? And I don't know if everyone's seen what it looks like, but it looks like this. It's a very simple, looks like a round Band-Aid about the size of a quarter, and we put it on the top of our spine many times, and then magic happens. So how do I get the best benefits from using this product?
So there's different placements, but the back of the neck, that's where I put mine. Patricia uses the spot under her belly button. And when there is localized symptom, localized pain, I'll put it right on top of that pain. Well, there is a on-off benefit. We talk about 12 hours on, 12 hours off to get the most benefit. And think of it that you can't continually exert an effort. You need to have a rest period in between. Think about how you could put a 5-pound weight in your hand and raise your arm up and down. You can't see my arms going up and down for hours, right? You know, half the time it's up, half the time it's down. But if you try to hold that 5-pound weight up in the air without relaxing, you're going to wear out. You're going to drop it and it won't stay up. You can't do 30 minutes, where you can do it if you stop and start, stop and start. And that's what happens with the X39. You can stimulate the signaling molecules, but you have to give the body a chance to recharge. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And the other side of it is to make sure your body is capable of healing. So hydration is always important, adequate sleep, good nutrition. If your body is dealing with toxins and toxicants, it's not going to do a lot of healing. It's fighting the putting out the fires rather than repairing the windows. So make sure that you're eating a healthy diet, you're taking adequate supplement, you're not taking pesticides, you're eating organic food, those kind of things.
Great. And I think I'm so glad you mentioned all of those things, because so many people are looking for the magic patch, the magic pill. We've got to do our part. And David Schmidt talks about that all the time. Leading a healthy lifestyle makes a big difference. Now, some people, what can people expect as far as how long they can before they can experience any kind of benefit?
Well, that's variable too. I'm not sure what the percentages are, but I think that I was lucky to be very rapid responder. I had acute pain when I first tried them, and within 5-10 minutes, the pain was remarkably better. My stamina and exercise tolerance, those things improved within the first few days. Pat, after wearing the X39 patch for 3 days, she doubled her bike riding capability. Wow. Doubled. And that was remarkable. She was able to hike in the Denver mountains where normally she would be out of breath at that height without moving, without doing much. So it was great. In my experience, I would say the majority of people have a slower onset of benefit. And I generally recommend that they try it for at least a month, preferably 2 to 3 months, and keep a record of symptoms, quality of life symptoms, like the chart that LifeWave supplies, to help them get mark some parameters to mark their benefits over time.
Thank you so much for that, because people think that, oh, if I give one sample, I should have my life changed. And it doesn't happen to everyone. So I like that you recommend people, minimally a month, but 2 to 3 months ideally, to give it a chance. Because I mean, I've had people that it took several weeks. The statistics from the company say that 75% of people will feel something in the first 24 hours. And that something could be better sleep, energy, mental clarity. It's different for different people. And so thank you for recommending the health tracker, which is on the app. And if you are a guest this evening, you can have someone send that to you and get a baseline and notice all the different things that it could do, because it does a lot. And write down your symptoms, whatever they are, and track them over time, because it didn't happen overnight that things change. It may not happen. You may be lucky, like Dr. Stuart, that you feel it right away. It took me a week, but some people I know it's taken 7 weeks. And we heard someone recently, she stayed with it because she knew the value of it for longer than that. So is there anyone who shouldn't be using this product?
The general recommendation is people who are on immune suppressive therapies to not use it, because it does have an immune boosting benefit. I don't know, there's a whole lot. I think anybody who's pregnant is told not to do anything. When I was doing obstetrics, if someone asked me, should I take broccoli? I don't know, maybe not.
The chief science officer in another company I was with, he goes, just treat pregnant women like they're from another planet, and we don't experiment on pregnant women. Now, do some pregnant women use the patches? Yes. Do some not? Yes. And it's a personal choice. Yeah. And this term non-transdermal, could you explain what that means?
So transdermal means that some substance is penetrating through the skin. We have lots of transdermal creams. You could put your hormonal creams on, and they go through the skin and get into your bloodstream. This is a photobiomodulation. It is absorbing, as I understand the technology, absorbing light energy, infrared energy from your own body. It selects out specific frequencies of that and reflects back through the skin into your own body. So your light energy is reflected back into your body to stimulate signaling molecules. Signaling molecules are things that turn on functions.
Okay, great. So, Dr. Stuart, you ready for some questions?
That was a question.
Oh, I got. So we've got some people that want to ask you a few things, and Michael is saying that his 4-year-old grandson can't walk because his body's destroying his nerves, and he is hospitalized as of the last 10 days. And he used to be really active. Can he use these products? And if so, which ones?
Well, obviously, it sounds like a very life-threatening, critical situation. So is there any harm in trying? X39, certainly. Probably the YH Eon patch has a strong anti-inflammatory, maybe carnosine for support of nerve tissue. But there is certainly a role for conventional medicine in something that is so life-threatening.
Yeah. So this is a complementary addition to regular medicine in that kind of situation. It could be supportive for him. Okay, thank you for that. And Deb is saying she is a 77-year-old male distributor who put the carnosine patch on, and it gave him a flushing feeling, not with heat, in his arms, hands, and face. This happened for the first time he put it on and subsided within an hour. He continued wearing it, and it hasn't happened again. His heart muscle is a little weak. Do you know why this might happen?
Well, flushing has to do with vasodilation. The blood vessels dilate, and it allows heat to come to the skin surface. So why it had an effect on his autonomic nervous system to cause the blood vessels to dilate, don't know.
So he's fine using carnosine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, okay, great. Robin James is saying it took her 3 months for her to experience any differences. And thank you, Robin. It makes a big difference to give it some time and then really pay attention, because fun little things just get better and better and better over time. And we have studies on cognitive function that just keep getting better and better. So thank you for sharing that.
You know, we often go to a doctor, we look for treatment for something that bothers us. And it's always nice to have something to treat something that bothers us. But it's arguably more important to treat preventatively. And if there is something that can stimulate stem cells and improve our genes, bring them back to a more youthful state, so that we don't go through aging, so that we don't go through the degeneration and deterioration. I think that is a huge potential benefit for something like X39.
It's very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't know what the future is going to look like, but we know it's going to be good. Yeah, it just keeps getting better. Okay, so Deb is asking, when using multiple patches, why do we stack them instead of putting one next to the other?
Well, sometimes there's a specific spot, an acupuncture point that we're looking to stimulate. And because it's just light energy beaming back through the skin, we can have parallel beams of light energy and not interfere with the benefits.
Great, thank you so much. Kara Lee is asking, I know 2 people with nerve-related muscular issues, including spasms, it's an ongoing issue. What patches would you recommend for that?
Again, the Eon, the carnosine, glutathione might be very helpful. A lot of times the inflammation is due to toxins, and the glutathione helps to pull toxins out.
Great, great. Okay, and then Sharon has her hand up. So Sharon, I'm gonna allow you to talk. So you need to unmute your line if you have a story to share. You need to unmute. You're on mute, Sharon. So you need to unmute yourself. Let me see if I can. You've got to unmute your own line, Sharon, because I'd love to hear what you have to say, but you're not getting unmuted. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Try this now. We still can't hear you, Sharon. Darn. Okay. Well, let's, so Dr. Stuart, we have completed all the questions, believe it or not. What else would you like to share with our audience tonight about how special this product is, or application, or what you're excited about the future with LifeWave? What else would you like to share? We close up our call tonight.
Okay, so well, from my own experience, I really love the energy enhancer patch. That has been a dramatic benefit in my athleticism, and I can give a quantitative number of the improvement level that I see with that. That's something I put on before every game now. Oh gosh, there's just so many things. There are new things coming out that I'm sure I can't talk about. But I've been exposed to it because we're going to be doing some studies, hopefully in the near future. It's just an exciting, I think, you could talk about glutathione for a moment if you want.
Yeah, and we do have a few more questions come in, so go ahead on glutathione and then we'll finish up with these last two questions.
But glutathione is a molecule that is vital to our body. It's one of the most prevalent proteins in our body. It consists of cysteine, glutamine, and glycine. And this sticks to toxins. It is a major detoxifying substance. So two of the molecules come together, they stick to the toxin, and they carry that through the bloodstream, and it's discharged through the liver. I've used glutathione in all ways, orally, special supplements can be absorbed that way. Intravenously is very powerful, inhaled for lung conditions. But this YH glutathione patch now gives us the ability to dramatically increase threefold the amount of glutathione in the bloodstream. And that should have a huge benefit in detoxifying.
It's so exciting.
Studies with that.
Yeah, when David shared a story, when the independent lab was testing the glutathione, they were ready to shut down the lab and test the water because they couldn't believe the results. And David said, no, those results are accurate. They couldn't believe 300%. Yeah. Okay, a few more quick questions. Jocelyn wants to know, which patch would you recommend to enhance memory and where would you place it?
Carnosine is probably the most used patch for memory. And there are standard placements when you buy your packets. For certain conditions in the head and brain, I'll put the patch right on the crown of the head. It's a little hard to stick to hair if you have it. So you can put it on a baseball cap, or a stockinette to keep it on your head during night.
I love it. I love it. Okay, Sharon wasn't able to speak, but she has a story to share. So she said her balance has been dicey for several years, and she would require several seconds standing before being able to walk safely. One use of X39 and her balance improved dramatically.
Oh.
That's exciting, Sharon. Thank you so much for sharing that. I noticed that my reaction time dramatically increased, and Dr. Chevalier did a wonderful study you can find on lifewave.com about cognitive functions enhancing, and the longer you wear it, the better it gets. And let's see, finally, Jocelyn's guest, what patches can be used to alleviate debilitating effects of anxiety and depression?
So X39 is a good foundational. It increases lots of amino acids, including tryptophan and GABA, both of which are important for mood stabilization and decreasing excess stimulation. The EON patch helps to balance autonomic nervous system with that excess sympathetic drive, that flight and fright response that some people have, even though there's nothing to be physically afraid of. Even the Alavita patch, because of the way it works, that's that our skincare product can have a nice effect on calming the nervous system, especially at night. Nirvana helps with depression. Now, there's a number of them, and it takes a little bit more history with your doctor or your LifeWave advisor, and get an idea of which patches might be specific for you as an individual.
Okay, well, great, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people say they get this sense of well-being from X39, which is wonderful. And you explained why, and I'm not going to try to repeat it. Okay, last one from Shannon. What would you recommend for a 65-year-old young lady who's been dealing with a condition that in one eye that leads to blindness? And almost every person who has this issue, she's already lost 50% of her sight in one eye. I'm having her start with X39. What else would you recommend?
There is an eye protocol, and I would have to go through my notes because it's not in my memory banks. But there is an eye protocol that has been reportedly effective for a number of degenerative eye conditions. So maybe your LifeWave distributor can help guide you to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Because yeah, there are different eye conditions where there are different patches. And so we probably need some more specifics on that one. So, but X39 is always good for everything. And a lot of people do put a sleep mask on and put the patches right on the mask, which is really nice. Carnosine is a great patch for it. Carnosine is actually made in the eyes, isn't it?
Made in the eyes?
Yeah.
I'm
asking. So
it's a dipeptide and histamine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've gotten every question tonight, and I want to thank everyone for attending. Thank you, Dr. Stuart. Wonderful to be with you. I always love learning I love learning from all of our doctors, and it's a treat to be together. If you're a guest this evening, please get back to the person who invited you and get started. The products do come with a guarantee, so there's nothing to lose. And as Gregory says, only your health to gain. And so there's a wonderful customer program. And if you're the kind of person that likes to share, a very generous compensation program for sharing. And we need people to share. That's what makes this grow. That's how we change the world. That's how we can give people hope for the future and know that the future can be brighter than the current reality, which is very exciting as we get younger, as we get more numbers. And age is just a feeling, not a number, right? So thank you, everybody, tonight. And thank you, Dr. Stuart. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.